Hello gamers and welcome back. I'm Rob, of course, or Warjack if you want to call me by my in-game name. In this video we're going to be covering all of the current standard format legendaries, whether you should craft them, disenchant them, or keep them if they're currently in your collection. We'll go into each card and explain why I gave you that opinion, or what you should do based on some of my reasoning. Normally these videos take a little bit longer as we do cover every legendary card in the standard format, so if you're looking for a particular card or a particular class, just scoot forward in time because we go over each class as it goes through the list, and then neutrals of course being last. I try to cover as much as I can, but if I happen to leave something out, feel free to add it in the comment section below. So with that, let's get started. Druid being the first one, followed by Hunter, Mage, Paladin, as we can see from the top. The first one we're going to cover is going to be the Jungle Giants. Currently, this legendary quest is only found in one deck, and that's going to be the OTK Malygos Druid. The core of the deck is to complete the quest, get Barnabas, play Barnabas, discount your Malygos along with the spells that go along with them, play Malygos, Faceless Manipulator, or the Fungal Man, which we'll cover in a second, the Fungal Lord, and kill your opponent with Moonfire, or Moonfire. They're not, I don't think they're called Moonfires. They might be called Moonfires. Moon something. And Moonfires and swipes. If not, Ultimate Infestation for, I think it can do, I know it can do well over 40 damage. Pretty hard deck to play, very weak to aggressive based decks, does well against combo based decks. Overall, not the cheapest deck to play either, because you need quite a few cards to be able to build it. You need Faceless Manipulators, Malygos, the Fungal Spore. You need specific cards built for specifically this deck, which means they're hard to use in other decks. So if you like gimmicky like OTK Malygos decks, keep Jungle Giants. If not, you could always just try out like a big Druid, but again, it's not going to be like, this is not a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 deck we're talking about, guys. Not really that competitive of a card, so if you're only looking for the most competitive decks, you can dip it out, but if you like to keep it for the memes, go ahead. Twig of the World Tree follows kind of that same path with Medivh that used to be around. You could play Twig and then play Medivh and then get your 10 mana crystals, or you get Twig and Big Druid or Malygos Druid. You could use it for combo purposes. Twig isn't actually a staple in the combo OTK Druid. It's sometimes used in there, but it's kind of like if you have a legendary sitting there, like especially if you got two of these legendaries sitting here and you're not playing OTK Malygos Druid, you have no intention to, you can disenchant them, guys. They're not really used in anything as of now. Keep in mind that this is the first expansion of the rotation, so maybe an expansion or two from now they will see play. But it's going to be in very specific decks, so I wouldn't really worry about, oh man, I don't have Twig, I can't play like 4 of these kinds of decks. Now I'd be basically just one Druid deck, depending on how good that Druid deck is. We don't know. I have yet to see a Druid deck be very super competitive with either of these cards in it, so I don't think you're missing a lot. Dustfallen is a card that I have yet to see a single player play against me with, and I have yet to play her myself. The fact that I literally haven't seen any other streamer or any other player on ladder, I've played thousands of games, nobody's played this card and I haven't even found a way to play her that works well. I'm pretty sure she's a safe disenchant, guys. Maybe in a set or two from now she's found in some OTK deck or something like that, but as of now this is kind of just like a dry card, not really doing anything. Fungal Lord, like I mentioned before, he's found specifically in the Malygos deck that runs the Jungle Giants, so if you have no intention of playing that particular deck and it does not interest you, the Fungal Lord can easily be disenchanted, found in a very specific deck, and doesn't really see play in any other deck. Malfurion the Pestilent, the DK for the Druid class, extremely powerful. It's found in a variety of different decks. This is definitely a great craft if you're interested in the Druid class, whether you're playing Token Druid, Big Druid, Spiteful Druid. I mean, the list goes on. This guy is fantastic. Great craft. Do not disenchant him, but if you love Druid, great craft there. Splintergraft, I actually don't even have this guy, never opened him in packs, and I'm never gonna probably craft him depending on what he does, but as the moment there's no reason to craft him. Again, this is a card I've seen nobody play. I've seen nobody's played him against me. The only time we played this guy is in our highlight video, when we actually were able to play this guy as a rogue and use him on our tests to make a world twig, to make more splintergraft, to then splintergraft another test to get a world twig, to then splintergraft more because test summon Splintergraft, which was a crazy game. If you're interested in that, I'll put the link to that in the comment section or the description below. It was the craziest game of Hearthstone I've ever played. It was absolutely insane. So that's when this guy will see play. Besides that, I don't see this guy seeing much play. Have yet to even see him get to to see play anywhere. So I'm pretty sure he's a safe disenchant there, guys. Sonorous, this is actually not a bad original. This is part of the classic set legendary, so he's not a really terrible card if you have him and you like token-esque and you like buffing your board. You know, I recommend holding on to him, giving a shot, play him in some of your decks that would utilize him to the fullest. And if you don't really see him being useful to you, because he's not a staple in any particular deck, he's not great, but he's just not awful, right? He's not like Splintergraph. So mess with him a little bit. If you like him, keep him. If you don't, you can disenchant him. But I recommend just holding it. It's a safe keep to hold on to any legendary in the basic set, because they never rotate, and maybe eventually they see play and then you end up recrafting them. You know what I mean? So it's just always a safe keep to keep the legendaries in the basic set. And this applies for all of the legendaries and all of the classes that we're going to cover from now until the end of the video, besides, I believe, one class in particular, and when we get to it, I'll explain why. Hadronox currently found in Taunt Druid. How good is the deck? It seems to be very, very powerful against other control decks because of the ability to summon like 7 of these guys. But besides that, the deck is very slow. I don't really recommend disenchanting him as of now, due to the fact that the deck, as it continues to get modified, the meta continues to develop. Maybe it becomes like a tier 2 deck, tier 1 deck, and expansions to come, maybe Taunt Druid even gets better. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they have some more ways to combo with the good guy. But if any point in time Cube gets nerfed or something like that, then this guy will no longer see as much play, because this guy only really works with the Cube combination. It really brings out the ability to summon so many of this guy, because you can Hadronox and then Watching Hour, but like the point is you're able to Watching Hour, cube them, make 2 more, and fill up your board. It's just absolutely insane. So definitely a safe keep as of now if you're interested in Taunt Druid. Tyrantus, not really a card that we ever see play besides when the opponent, of course, Spiteful Summoners, and then they rip out the Pyroblast or the Mind Control, and then of course it always, for the love of God, summons Tyrantus, and then you can't target him because he can't be targeted by hero powers or spells, and then you just concede right there on the spot, because you know this giant dinosaur is going to smack you in the face with this giant long tail or sharp teeth for 12 damage. Safe disenchant. Not really found in any druid deck. I originally played him in my big druid just for the memes, but big druid really isn't a deck to see any play at all right now, so there's no reason to play him. And even in big druid, he wasn't a staple, so no big deal there. And that covers all of our druid cards. Next, the Marsh Queen, the quest, the Hunter quest. Currently, I don't really want to say that this is a great card, because it's really not. A lot of the streamers, including myself, have been tampering with a little quest hunter. I don't think it's ever going to be like a tier 1 or tier 2 deck, but it's a fun deck. So again, give it a shot, guys. If you enjoy it, keep it. If you don't enjoy it, you can disenchant it. You don't really have to worry about losing too much, because again, it's not really a super competitive card. It's never been found in a tournament play. It's never been, you know, super high legend with quest hunter. I mean, you know, eventually you'll see Dogs of each, you know, some of the cool streamers playing this, and they may be high legend. It may work out a couple games, but the meta in high legend is very, very different than the meta at ranks, you know, 15 through 5, and I'm sure you guys know that better than anybody. It's brutal out there. You try to play a fun deck and you get smacked in the face real hard, real fast, real swift like. All right. Houndmaster Shaw, 4 mana, 3/6. Your other minions have Rush. Pretty good card overall. I've yet to see anybody actually play this card against me, but it's not a bad card, and I expect to see a Hunter deck, whether it be this meta or next meta, actually utilize this card, whether it's some form of like mid-range Hunter or you know, aggro Hunter, or maybe some control Hunter out there. I don't know, but I'm sure this card will see play somewhere, because it's not bad. The problem is it just doesn't see play now. So if you have no intention to play Hunter, I think it's a safe disenchant. But again, I think it has potential in the future. So, you know, if you can hold off and it's not your #1 priority, I wouldn't disenchant it, if you know what I mean. I'm trying to give you, again, at the end of this video, everything is up to you. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just advising you on if I was a budget player, how I would be looking at some of these cards. Professor Putricide, I honestly love this card. I think it's incredibly powerful. Does it see play? It doesn't. It sees no play. I tried to play this card and it just doesn't work as well as you think it would. Because most of the time, if you have secrets, you play them early. And if you play them early, you're wanting to use your Spellstone. You're not wanting to, like, you know, wait for Professor Putricide, have him live, and then play the secrets. You know what I mean? So it actually doesn't work out as well as you think it would. I think it's a safe disenchant. Even how powerful his ability is and how powerful he is, if you can get it to work, great. If you like the card, keep it, guys. If you like any of the cards I'm telling you to disenchant them, keep them. It's fine. Just suggestions. But doesn't see any play in any competitive Hunter deck right now, and I've yet to see the card played a single time in my months of thousands of games. Death Star Rexar, pretty safe keep. Fits well in, you know, aggro, not, I wouldn't say aggro hunter, but more of like a mid-range hunter. I've seen a couple cube hunters and mid-range hunters play Rexar and be able to outvalue quite a few priest decks or warlock decks, depending on, you know, how well you are at your Build-A-Bear workshop that it allows you to do. Overall, safe keep, and fits well in a lot of hunter decks. The Rock Delar, the no minion hunter, was actually a very popular deck once Barnes and Rage was out. For all of you extremely skillful players that could manage to either draw Barnes on 4 or coin into Barnes on 3, kudos to you guys. You are the most skilled players I've ever seen. But without, you know, your incredibly intellectual combo of Barnes into Rage, all of a sudden Hunter, including the no minion hunter, it's gone from ladder. I have yet to see almost a single no spell hunter after you guys lost your Barnes into Rage combo. So unfortunately, I'm not sure how powerful this deck is. I haven't tested it to its fullest since the expansion is released. I'm sure it'll do all right. So this card I think is a safe keep. If you're interested in no minion hunter, if you have again no intention of playing no minion hunter at all, this is the only deck that this card fits into, and it's a legendary, right? So if you're more than welcome to disenchant this and craft like a spiteful summoner or something like that that fits into multiple different decks. But if you're interested in no minion hunter, this is a fantastic. It's almost a staple in that deck for sure. But yeah, it's hard to say how good the deck is because all those Barnes Rage peoples can't be found anymore. They lost their big, huge plays of skill. 7 mana, 9/9 Swamp King Dread is as powerful as this minion is. Again, yet to see any play. It was actually saw in some mid-range hunter couple months ago, and the deck never really saw like huge competitive play. It's not a bad card, don't get me wrong, but it's just not a fantastic card. There's better hunter decks that don't run this. Like you could disenchant this card and build like half a face hunter deck and it would probably do better than Swamp King Dread. Cathena Winterwisp, again, pretty safe disenchant here. If you're the only deck she currently fits into is like Big Hunter or like Cube Hunter, again, more of meme decks and competitive decks. And mid-range Hunter, she's even like a little too late for that. I mean, she's not bad. If you like mid-range Hunter, you like Cube Hunter, or you like, you know, Big Hunter, keep her. But if you have no intention of playing any of those decks, she's a safe disenchant. She only fits in those particular decks. King Crush, part of the classic set, again, moving to like, you know, part of the things where maybe this card sees play sometimes, maybe it doesn't see play sometimes. It's not a bad card to play in your mid-range just for the 9 mana, 8 damage charge to the face. I don't recommend disenchanting him because he's part of the classic set, but again, he's not used at the moment, and he was never really truly used a lot, so it's a safe disenchant, but keep in mind he's part of the classic set, and it never rotates out. Emrys, safe disenchant. I think this card is super cool, but he's really bad in regards to what they did with him, because by the time it's 10 mana, you don't have any minions in your hand. If you do, it's 1. He's a 10 mana 8/8. He doesn't have taunt. He's not holding anything down. So, yeah, safe disenchant there. Open the Waygate currently sees no play because Tome is gone, so it's a safe disenchant. Maybe in a couple expansions, they release more ways to generate random spells. Please don't. But if they happen to do that, it'll probably see play again. But at the moment, the hunter deck, or the mage, the OTK mage deck is not in existence. There is a questless version of the deck. That's another route if you're looking to play OTK mage. Archmage is found in the no spell or limited spell mage. Not sure how competitive it is. I tried playing it. I wasn't that wowed by it. It did okay, but it has a lot of weaknesses. So I think at the moment, this is more of like a card that's being tested, more of a card that's really good and we'll see play. Again, Mage has always been a class, has a lot of spells. So when you take away spells from a class that has a lot of spells, you're already giving yourself a disadvantage. So I don't really think that card is that good. It's pretty safe disenchant. Pyrus, fairly a decent card. You can play this card in your control mage or your tempo mage or your elemental mage, and it'll do really well, right? But you also could play this card in your control mage or elemental mage and do just fine as well. It's not a staple in those particular decks. Maybe elemental mage, it's more of a staple, but in control mage, you don't need Pyrus to do well. There's a lot of misconceptions that, oh, this is definitely a control mage card, gotta have it in there. No, you could. My control mage does not play this card, and it does just fine. Legendary, so pretty safe disenchant, but if you like playing the card, you like what it does, you like the ability, you like, you know, just forever Pyrus, keep him. A Lunith, let me take a sip here. A Lunith, fantastic tempo mage card. At first, this card, people were looking at it and they were like, wow, this card's going to be fantastic in combo mage, the OTK mage, because you're going to be able to draw the pieces so fast. But the problem is, a lot of the pieces in the deck, Blizzard, Flame Strike, and Frost Nova, they just cost a decent amount of mana, and you'll end up overdrawing your combos. So this actually saw play in a tempo mage. Very interesting enough. And fantastic card in the deck, is staple in tempo mage. So if you love tempo mage, don't disenchant this card. It's absolute staple in the deck. Tukey Time Tinker, more of a meme card than anything. Safe disenchant. You can play her in your control mage if you want for the cool stuff. You can play her in your tempo mage or elemental mage just because she's cool. But is she a staple in any of those decks? Absolutely not. Archmaiden Enchantite is part of the classic set, and one of the, in my opinion, one of the most powerful of the classic legendaries. The ability to generate a fireball every time you cast a spell is absolutely insane. Currently found in Tempo Mage due to the fact that you play stuff like arcane missiles, frostbolts, fireballs, you know, stuff like that, primordial glyphs, and cheap spells to generate free fireballs. You really just can't go wrong there. Extremely powerful card. Do not disenchant this guy. Sindragosa, currently found in Control Mage, particularly my Control Mage. I've seen a couple other of the Control Mage play her. She's not a staple in the deck, but she's, in my opinion, pretty good in the deck, but only found in Control Mage. So if you have no intention of playing Control Mage, you can disenchant her. You won't really see anything wrong. She can be found in, if you really want to, the No Spell Mage. You know, she's a decent No Spell Mage minion. So if you have the other guy and her, you might think about building a no spell deck, but then you're gonna need the tome things, which I'm pretty sure are epics to draw 3 cards. So pretty expensive deck. But overall, safe disenchant if you have no intention of playing Control Mage. Dragoncaller, fantastic card in Control Mage, probably a staple in the deck, if not one of the most important cards, because it basically gives you at the end of the game your big win condition. Again, only found in Control Mage that plays a lot of spells. So if you're playing Tempo Mage, this card does not fit because you do not play enough big cards. It's a very slow card. And yeah, really only found in Control Mage. So when we're hitting sort of these classes, guys, these class legendaries, which fit in 1, if not maybe 2 decks per class. But when we hit the neutrals, we'll see a lot of these cards fit into a lot more decks, or have the ability to fit into more decks because they're neutral. So just keep in mind, even if a card only fits in 1 or 2 decks, it's not, like, I wouldn't disenchant her because Control Mage could end up being a really big thing. And then Frost Luchino, again, part of the Control Mage package, or even Elemental Mage package. Fantastic DK, probably one of the best alongside of Gul'dan as being the most powerful of the DKs as of now. I mean, the Priest one got nerfed a little bit. By a little bit, it didn't really get nerfed, but the part that made it, like the Raza Anduin combo, was just absolutely insane. It was probably the most powerful. But now that Raza's not a thing, this is now one of the best. So do not disenchant the Frost Lich Jaina. The last Sonorous. Safe disenchant. I've been messing with a Quest Paladin myself. Super fun deck, really bad deck. Glass Knight is a card that I've tested a few times. I have a deck with like 6 to 8 healing in it. The problem is this card's too slow because you need this card out, you need it to live, you need it to lose its Divine Shield, and then you need a card out that's gonna heal you to get the Divine Shield back. And at the end of the day, is all that trouble worth 1 fucking Divine Shield? And the price of a Divine Shield is less than 1 mana. So is it worth going through all the trouble of playing a 4 mana 4/3 to get its Divine Shield back for the price of merely just basically you're gaining 1 mana's worth? There's just better cards that do better things. You don't need Glass Knight. Safe disenchant. This guy's never seen play. Safe disenchant. The only time this ever was played, I guess, it was if it got randomly generated off Firelands portal and you were kind of upset because it was just a 1/7 that gets taken by Soul Priest, or I should say the Shadow Priest in the Priest class. Prince Liam, I've seen a couple people play this guy against me in their odd Paladin decks. Not too bad, to be honest. I currently play him in my odd Paladin just because he's a cool card and he replaces some of the lesser, mana cost cards. Well, actually all of the 1 cost cards in your decks into legendary minions. So in the late game, he's pretty good. But is he a staple in those decks? No. Can you disenchant him and not have to really worry about a thing after that? Yes. So Pretty safe disenchant there. Just a cool card, if anything. Sunkeeper Term, this card's absolutely disgustingly good. Crafting, or just having one in the deck's insane, and then getting more off Stonehill Defenders even better. So 100% do not disenchant, 100% craft if you like Paladin. Valeera has actually found a lot before the expansion. Now the expansion, the Witchwood expansion got released, is actually, I've seen it maybe once or twice on ladder, but still a very, very good weapon in my opinion. I'd hold on to it and even try throwing it into a couple of your decks if you want to. The problem is with Valeera is that the Silver Sword exists, and Silver Sword is a really good card and has 4 charges of +1 to everything on the board, while this can be stopped with a simple like Polymorph, Hex, and cards of that nature, or Silence. So at the moment, doesn't really see a lot of play, but very powerful card. Linessa, only currently found in the buff Paladin, sometimes found in a control Paladin. I haven't actually seen a control Paladin though in a long time, guys. Problem with her is she can get polymorphed, silenced, hex. Silence is a really big thing right now because of all the Void Daddies out, because of all the people playing fuck Q block, all you bitches. So silence is a really big thing, and she's not really seen that much. Again, she's a really powerful card, guys. If you can hold on to her, I would, because maybe buff Paladin in my I don't mean buff Paladin, but like a Paladin deck that has buffs in it. Like even if you just Kings her twice, or Kings her and then a Steeder, which is only 2 buffs, she's worth it, right? So really good card. And then we have Tyrion, super sick card. Again, part of the basic legendary set, fantastic card. And do not disenchant. He's exceedingly powerful. Uther, again, one of the DKs. I don't recommend disenchanting the DKs, or all of them are good in their own way. Plus he's not bad at all. You get 4 horsemen out. There was an OTK deck that existed prior to this expansion. Now that we lost that OTK, we don't really see Paladin as much in the forms of like control Paladin, but we see it in the form of like odd and even. So still good though. You know, I believe play this card in my odd Paladin, because I'm being able to heal for 15 with the weapon, and then another 5 with the armor, and then upgraded hero power into 2/2 horsemen is really, really, really good. Moving to Priest, Awaken the Makers. Again, more of a meme card than anything. Currently doesn't see any play in the competitive scene. So safe disenchant. Chameleos, I think this card is really, really good. And Control Priest, currently there's no Control Priest deck that's actually really good existing, so therefore Chameleos isn't a thing. But it's still a really good card, because if you get him anytime during the first half of the game, being able to see almost exactly what's in your opponent's hand, and by exactly what's in their hand, like this card is going to change every turn, hopefully into a different minion, giving you insight into what your opponent has, which is huge. That's so good, in my opinion. So if you have this card, keep him for now. He's just so powerful. Dragon Soul, for some reason I have fucking 2 of them. Let me disenchant the one, because I have a golden one. More of a meme card than anything right now. There's no priest deck besides maybe the Inner Fire Priest deck that would run this, but right now Weapon Destruction is a hot commodity, again because of all the Q blocks. Being able to destroy that Gul'dan's weapon is really nice feeling, so running this card is really bad at the moment, and it's just honestly not that great in general in regards to being able to pull it off. We attempted the Dragon Soul Priest deck a little bit ago, didn't do that bad, but the only reason it didn't do that bad is because people didn't expect it. So appreciate. Why did I was trying to end the video there? I was about to say, appreciate you guys watching. Dragon Soul's the last card. No, Rob, we got more to go. Lyra the Sun Shard, the 5 mana 3/5 super value generator, super good card. Definitely keep her. She's not good in Spiteful Summoner because you only get to play 4 spells in the deck, but she's basically good in every other priest deck besides that. So definitely a great keep there. Lady in White, I've seen her played a couple days into the expansion. In a Spiteful Lady in White deck, or a Prince Lady in White deck, but I haven't seen her played at all since then. People were really hyping up this card to be really something crazy, and I have yet to see that actually happen at all. So if you really think she's like good and she just hasn't seen her potential yet because people aren't trying, keep her. But as of now, there's no deck that's competitive that runs this card, so I'll leave it at that. I'm not telling you to disenchant, I'm not telling you to enchant. I'm just letting you know that 2-3 weeks after the expansion, there's not a single deck I've seen or a player play this card besides the 1 or 2 players I played out of the thousands of games, or hundreds that have played her, and the streams I've joined. Archbishop, just a meme, safe to disenchant. I played him in my Controlled Priest, but you know, you really don't need him, but he's a good meme. Prophet Velen, part of the classic set, very good card. whether you're playing him in your, your combo priest, your new player playing him in your control priest. Just a solid card, definitely a keep. Temporous, definitely you can disenchant this guy. There was some combo priests running around for a little bit that ran this guy, but nothing too crazy, not a staple in anything. You guys aren't going to worry if you disenchant him. Shadow Reaper, really powerful card. Currently doesn't see a whole lot of play due to the fact that, the Raza priests aren't a thing anymore. Thank God. The deck was just absolutely broken. I don't know why it took them so long to nerf that deck. But I'm glad these people don't exist anymore, but still a good card as is, still very powerful and still sees some play in whether it be Spiteful or some form of control priest if they're out there roaming around. Definitely a solid card. Do not disenchant him. All right, so heading over to Rogue, we've got the Kingsbane Rogue, which is a very fantastic weapon if you manage to live long enough to draw into it and buff it up. A very fun deck to play, but is it very good right now? And I don't think the answer to that is yes. I tried playing a Kingsbane Rogue after the rotation of all of the pirates that allow us to upgrade our weapon, and it was very hard to play this deck against anything but control decks that we were able to have enough time to be able to do everything we wanted to do. Plus, with the rotation of Cold Light Oracle, it makes it really hard to draw a lot of cards because Cold Light Oracle Shadow Step was one of the most clear-cut combos to the deck that allowed your opponent to get milled and you draw into all of the pieces you needed to make this card work. So unfortunately, I do not think Kingsbane at the moment is worth crafting. And if you need room, it's kind of like a safe disenchant. But if you like the deck, of course, keep it. Caverns Below, actually really popular come up now. It actually, I think, is considered a tier 1, if not a very high tier 2 deck at the moment, because the meta has slowed slightly enough to make the 5/5s actually work well against Q Block, Control Lock, Spiteful decks. I mean, most of the time there's enough time in the game for you to be able to pull this combo off. And there's enough pieces now that you're able to, bring back and bounce back minions, even when this card got nerfed from 4 to 5 minions. It's actually a really powerful deck at the moment. Van Cleef, again, classic legendary, never going to be really rotated out, safe keep. Found in a plethora of miracle decks, tempo decks. He's just a good card. Face Collector, I currently play him in my tempo deck just for fun. He's not a staple in any deck by any means. I play him also in my random rogue, which I mentioned doing that crazy combo earlier with. But is he a staple in any current rogue deck? The answer is no. So it's pretty safe disenchant if you have this card. You don't want to play like a super meme deck. Shadow Dancer is a fantastic card. She's like I think one of the sickest cards in the game. The ability to add a 1/1 copy of a minion to your hand after it dies and it costs 1 is insane in the rogue, because a lot of the time rogues have great battle cries. SI Agent, the Spider Maker dude, Vile Spine Slayer. I mean, it's just the list goes on. And she's found in Quest Rogue, she's found in Tempo Rogue, she's found in my random rogue. I mean, she's just so good. So definitely a great card here. Do not disenchant. Lillian Voss is kind of a fucking joke. I don't even know why they made this legendary. I don't like they make some of the shittiest legendaries. Like, if a legendary minion needs to be legendary, guys, I don't know who told you that legendary minions can be pieces of poop. But this is a piece of poop right here. Sherzin, in my opinion, still a great card to play in a Miracle Rogue deck. I've seen a lot of people stop playing them because of silence, but if they use their silence on Sherzin and not Van Cleef, aren't you happy about that? So at the end of the day, I think this card is still great in Miracle, but only currently found in Miracle Rogue. So if you have no intention to play Miracle Rogue, safe disenchant. Tess, I play her in my Tempo Rogue, I play her in my random Rogue, but is she a staple currently in any Rogue deck? The answer to that is no. She's a safe disenchant. If you don't want to play her, like, she's just like a cool card you can throw in there for just cool stuff. You know what I mean? But if you're going straight for competitiveness and want to fill your deck with the best cards and have the best win rate, you can disenchant her, no problem. And then Valeera, again, great DK, very powerful card. She fits into like almost any deck you want her to, because she's just good all around. She's just not, her ability isn't centered around just one type of deck. It's just good in general. So do not disenchant her, very powerful. She's very wow, very good, very now. Unite the Murlocs, it's always been a meme quest. It continues to be a meme quest. Safe disenchant. Thrall, good guy. Currently, Evolved Shaman really isn't in the best spot, so he doesn't see a whole lot of play. But again, I don't think it's safe to disenchant him because he could potentially be good. I mean, just because he's not good in this particular set, or as of now, the card was good for a while, and he was found in a ton of different Shaman decks, so I would give it a little bit of time. I think this card's fine. Grumble, I think this is a really good legendary, and fits well into almost any sort of Shaman deck you're wanting to build because of the battle cries of Shaman class cards are really, really powerful. So again, keep this guy very, very good. Morbeat, this guy, again, part of the poop package. He's absolutely atrocious. I don't know who designed this card. I mean, his image is fine, and his ability is cool. I don't know who did this mana cost in this, like, stat line, but they need to be fired. Licari, the Wind Lord, part of the classic set. Used to be pretty powerful, not really powerful anymore. He gets randomly generated through Spiteful Summoner. Cool. If he doesn't, you don't really play this guy in your deck. I don't want to tell you to disenchant him because he's part of the classic set and he could potentially see use in the future, but as of now, this card has not been competitive for a long time. Sees no play in any particular deck. Pretty sure it's a safe disenchant, but because he's part of the classic set, I don't want to hammer down disenchanting him like forever. So you may have to craft him again. But again, probably safe to disenchant. Hagatha the Witch, really good control shaman card. Not that bad. I was expecting her to be a little bit worse than what she's performed to be, but she's pretty good in control shaman. Don't really recommend disenchanting her. I'm pretty sure they made Hagatha to, like, it's just this guy, but like better. They're like, we kind of made the shaman DK only really work for one thing while all the other DKs really work for just about anything. Maybe we should try it again. And that's where they came up with her. She's like the shaman hero power, or the shaman DK that, you know, it should have had. Kalamos, the Primal Lord, really good elemental, very good elemental. The problem is he's only found in specifically elemental shaman. If you don't play elemental shaman, this guy is absolutely useless. So if you like elemental shaman, this guy is a great guy, especially comboing Grumble with this guy. Get a 1 mana Kalamos Primal Lord. That's super sick nasty sauce right there. Rune Spear, this card is just atrocious. Again, whoever designed this card in response to this mana cost and these stat lines can go right beside the person who designed this guy right here. Maybe it's the same dude. Who knows? Shutterwook, Shuttercock, however you want to call his name. Really, actually, very good card if you play the Prince Control Shaman. Even if you just play Control Shaman, he's really good. If you play the OTK version with this guy in there, no offense, but you're, you know, a loser. But if you just play this guy naturally and, you know, your Elemental Shaman or your Prince Shaman or, you know, your Control Shaman, you just play this guy because you can, you know, that's fine. But for those of you who played this guy in your OTK deck, because you're like, oh my god, this guy's toast, went fucking 20-3 with this deck first day of the season, I'm gonna be a good player too. No, don't do that. And I would say again, don't disenchant, and you can disenchant that. I didn't specifically say it, but I insinuated that this piece of shit, and this is pretty good. Licari Sacrifice has always been a meme. I actually just posted a video on our discard Warlock deck. And really fun deck, but it sucks. Safe disenchant. This card, you'd be surprised. You think this goes into discard Warlock and it'd be super good. Yeah, this card sucks in discard Warlock. It seems like it'd be so good. I didn't even play her in there. If this card doesn't even fit in discard Warlock, this card has no ability to be played ever. Safe disenchant. Queen, good in discard Warlock. Is discard Warlock a thing? No. Safe disenchant. Skull of Minari, Cube Lock, Control Lock. If you're bad, you play this in your Control Lock, but if you don't play, like, it's a safe keep just because of how good it is, so I can't even say it's bad. But guys, just a little tip: if you play Control Warlock and you only run 2 Void Daddies, which is the Void Lords in your deck, don't play the fucking Skull. You don't need it. You've got 2 lackeys already. Don't do that to yourself, man. Your opposing player will be like, did this guy really just play the Skull in his Control Lock? Galinda, actually, you know what? Play this in your deck because I want to go against you and beat you. Actually, I take that back. Yeah, play that card, guys. Galinda Crowskin currently only sees play in 1 Warlock meme deck called the Meat Wagon deck. The Meat Wagon Warlock. But besides that, she sees no play. Safe disenchant. Rin, fantastic card, super sick nasty, puts everybody, as soon as she dies, your opponent is on a clock. If they don't put pressure on you, you just make seals and destroy their deck. Super good, do not disenchant. This guy's super good, do not disenchant. Lord Joffers, I call him Joffers because I hate when people play him against me. It reminds me of the Game of Thrones Joffrey because I hate that guy and I hate this guy too. But the guy's good, I like playing him, I just don't like them playing him against me because it's very sad and depressing when my board just explodes over and over and over again. But good card, don't disenchant. Jaxus, I have a golden one. Looks so sick. Keep it part of the legendary classic package. Currently, he doesn't really see play, and he's not a staple in any Warlock deck. But by darn it, you'll keep this card because he's super cool. He's awesome, and you can play him, and he's really just not that bad. He was a staple for the longest time. He rotated. He became not a staple because Gul'dan, this fucking guy, is absolutely. It's just like bonkers how fucking good this is. But when this guy leaves, this guy's our runner-up. So. Keep this guy. Keep this guy, too. This guy's fucking crazy. But, like, just don't disenchant this guy. Because you're like, I got Gul'dan. And then Gul'dan rotates out. And you're like, I gotta get Draxus. Don't do that to yourself. You deserve better. Fire Plume's Heart. Taunt Warrior. Used to be a really good deck. By really good, it was like, you know, tier high 2, low tier 1 at one point in time. And lost a lot of its ability to be good. And now pop back up. I don't think the deck is bad. I recommend keeping it for the time being. This card is really good. It flew under the radar for me. I knew he was going to be good, but I didn't realize how good he was going to be. Definitely keep him if you like your Rush Warrior. This card, honestly, you can disenchant it and it won't really affect you at all. But it's really not that bad. I played this card and I was able to Warcry and I did like 15 damage to my opponent and cleared the board. And it was really nice. And I don't tell anybody this, but if you happen to play our warrior deck that runs Master Oakheart, Master Oakheart summons a 1, 2, and 3 attack minion from your deck. Guess who can summon a free Black Howl Gunspire from your deck and not pay 7 mana for it? You. But I didn't say that out loud. So pretty good card in my opinion. But you can disenchant it and not have to worry. But if you want a really cool Master Oakheart card and take your opponent off guard and combo that with Warcry, yo, boy, or Warpath, yeah. Geosculptor, yep. Really cool card. Does it see play in competitive scene at all? No. Has it ever seen play in competitive scene at all? No. Does it fit into any deck currently? No. Safe disenchant, yes. Grommash, good card. Part of the classic set. Always has been good. Can fit into any warrior if you really wanted to. Being able to charge in for potentially 10 damage if you enrage him was really, really nice. I love getting whispered repeatedly by one person. Or a couple people asking me if I'm doing things. Obviously, I'm doing something. It's like, hello, are you there? What are you doing? It's like, recording a video. What are you doing? Not bothering me. Not you, they are. Rips. Anyway, raw face. 8 mana, 4/6. After this minion survives, summon a random legendary minion. Seems like it'd be really good. Has it seen competitive play? No. Is it found in any competitive decks? No. Does it fit anywhere? Not really. I've tried to make it fit Warcry, or I keep thinking Warcry. It's Warpath, you know, Whirlwinds, the DK Warrior Legendary. All of those in conjunction with this card could potentially be really good, but it's too much to set up. There's just better things you can do for less mana and requires less material. More materials are needed for this pylon, and this pylon is not worth making. Again, every time I look at this card, I just get sad inside because he's just one of the shittiest out of all the DK legendaries. It's like, why did Warrior have to be the short end of the stick? Every time I bring this card up, I say the same thing, and it's just so disappointing. The weapon is so sick. The 4/3 Shadowmourne that also damages adjacent minions, they did a fantastic job there. The rest of this card, the image, the Blade Storm, it makes sense, but it could be so much better. Like, why? Why did they do this? Like, like, God, he's bad. You can disenchant this card. Whoa, Cleaver. Disenchant this card. Doesn't really fit anywhere besides Big Warrior. Even in Big Warrior, I still don't play this card. King Mosh, surprisingly, guys, talk so much shit about this guy. A lot of shit. Massive shits. You can disenchant him, but he's currently, I play him in my Big Dragon Control Warrior deck. The deck is performing very well. Very well. And he's in there, but it's safe to disenchant. He's not really found anywhere else. Just letting you know. Potentially in the future, you could see play. Whirlwind King Mosh, am I right, baby? Blood Mage Thanos fits in a ton of different decks. whether it be tempo mage, control mage sometimes, rogue. I mean, it's just a good card. It bounces in and out of the meta depending on some decks, but overall, it's always been a really solid card. Definitely don't disenchant. Laura Walker Cho has always been bad, safe to disenchant. Milhouse Mana Storm, as you can see, is not even my collection. You can disenchant this guy, he's always been bad. Nat Pagel used to be good, and then he got nerfed, and now he's bad, so he's always bad. You can disenchant this card. Prince, found in a ton of different decks. Really good card at the moment. Everybody thought he was going to be bad, that the +1/1 wouldn't really make a difference. Plus, having no 2-cost cards in your deck would be a high cost, like a high entry to barrier or whatever. Really good card. Fits in a ton of different decks, and you can, it's just fantastic card. Don't disenchant. King Mukla, safe to disenchant. As you can see, I don't have them. I have a lot of cards in this game. I have a lot of golden cards, and these are some of the cards I just don't have. So if you see me not have a card, the card must be really bad. Prince used to be found in Q Block. Hasn't seen the light in Q Block in quite some time. Pretty sure you're safe to disenchant that guy. Master Overspark, I always like to bring this up. He used to be really good in the Cthulhu Warrior decks, because Cthulhu Warrior had no ability to polymorph, and being able to polymorph your opponent's Cthulhu was really good, or their Sylvanas or whatever, so they couldn't take your Cthulhu. And I know you're like, Rob, how popular was Cthulhu Warrior back in the day? For those of you who remember, Cthulhu Warrior was really fucking popular. Control Cthulhu Warrior was the shit. Also being able to stop them from, you know, Savannah High main on 6, and the card I just said, Sylvanas, Rag, like it's just a good card to play, surprisingly, in Warrior class. No, nonetheless, because Warrior had no polymorph ability. So you can disenchant him, though he sucks now, but back then this guy's actually pretty OG. Zolo the Gorgon, found in quite a few decks at the moment, more particularly more popular in the Quest Rogue deck. But I've seen her played in the Control Warlock. I've seen her played in some Control Warriors. I've seen her played in some Paladin decks. There's a lot of good cards that you can copy and that you'd want a copy of in your deck to just have more. So not a bad card. Definitely keep her. Arthas, pretty bad overall. I mean, it's just not worth the random Death Knight Legendary card. He was tested at the start with, you know, when N'Zoth was out, so you could get 2 of them and bring them back and whatnot. But is he worth it? No, not really. Prince Valeera, used to see play in the Tempo Rogue sometimes, but more specifically maybe the Miracle Rogue. But besides that, really didn't see any play. I'm pretty sure I said you can disenchant him before, and that's still 6 to this day. You can disenchant this card now. Spirit Singer Umbra, currently only seems play in some Q blocks. You don't even have to play her in your Q block. She's not a staple by any means. She's a safe disenchant, and she only fits in Q block at the moment. The Dankness, it used to actually not be a bad card because of all the Raza priests. You put candles in their deck. There's more than one candle in their deck. They can't play Raza and things like that. It might be still good, maybe like Wild, where there's a lot of Reno and there's a lot of Raza. But at the moment, he sees no play in standard format and safe disenchant. The Vorax has never really seen play at all. It's never been a staple in any deck. And I don't think I've ever seen a single person actually play this card against me unless they opened an Elise pack and then they played this card against me. But besides that, safe disenchant. Greenskin, used to see play in Pirate Warrior, used to see play in Kingsbane Rogue. That's it. Safe disenchant. Dollmaster, safe disenchant. I have yet to see a single person play this card. Elise, safe card. Works well in control decks. I'm very powerful. She's not actually a staple in any of those decks right now, but she's just she's a really good card in general, so I recommend keeping her. Harrison Jones, part of the classic set, is a good card to keep depending on how popular weapons are in the meta. Whether you're keeping or playing a, like, let's say you love Acidic Swamp Ooze, you can just play 2 oozes instead of a Harrison and disenchant this guy. But if you like Harrison for the draw, you can run like 1 Harrison, 1 ooze, get your 2 weapon destruction in the deck, and then be a little bit spaced out in mana cost, and 1 actually gets you to draw some cards. So good card as is. Recommend don't disenchanting them. Do not disenchant him. Leroy Jenkins, do not disenchant. Fits well into a variety of different decks, whether you're playing a mid-range to aggressive-based decks. I currently don't play this card in any of my decks, and I refuse to play this card in almost any of my decks because I hate when people play him against me, because I actually get really upset because he's really annoying, and he always goes face. But he's a really good card, so don't get me wrong. Keep him, play him, but you'll never really see me play this guy. Karen currently doesn't see any play. It's very dependent on the meta. Sometimes he sees no play, sometimes he sees a lot of play. Currently he's in a state where he doesn't see any play. It's a safe disenchant if you really need the dust, but again, guys, he could pop up later on. Also in wild, he might be pretty useful, but at the moment, doesn't really see any play in our standard format. Gren, again, or just call him Greymane, really good. There's quite a few even decks that you can play, whether you're playing Paladin and or Warlock that utilize this guy. He's just a really good card. You can utilize him in all kinds of decks to build all kinds of wonky things. Definitely recommend crafting and or not disenchanting. Hemet basically was a meme. Played in meme decks. You can disenchant him. Augur, you can disenchant him. Illidan, you can disenchant him. Not really found in any decks. The Beast, you can disenchant him. Black Knight. Again, he's very similar to Harrison Jones in respect to like when he sees play. Like at the beginning of the Ungoro meta, he saw a ton of play because of all the bone mares. And no, it was I'm sorry, the Frozen Throne. Because of all the bone mares, Black Knight popped up. Primordial Drake was a great target. Bone mare target was a great target. There's just a ton of taunts floating around, and then this guy would just dominate them. At the moment, he sees no play, but I do recommend keeping him in your collection just because there are times that this guy is really good, and he's not a bad tech card. Soul Thief, played her in my Control Mage. Not too shabby, but not a staple. She's not a staple in any deck at the moment, so I'm pretty sure she's a safe disenchant. Whether she becomes a card that we see in the future with some sort of control deck could be, but it would be a very specific deck. It wouldn't be for anything. Baron Geddon doesn't really see any play in any deck besides the Elemental Control Mage, and that's because this guy's an Elemental. He does damage to everything on the board, and everything he does damage to actually heals you. So this can actually Reno Jackson yourself up to 30 life pretty easily, or, you know, above 20. But the problem is it's only found in that one control Elemental Mage deck. It doesn't even have to be Elemental Mage deck. It can just be Control Mage. It used to be found in Control Warrior, but not really anymore. I'd keep him, honestly, because he's just a good card to have. But if, again, you're tight on dust, you're not going to be playing any sort of that nonsense soon. Good, safe, disenchant him. Ashmore, if you yet to see a single person actually play this card against me, or me play it, pretty safe to disenchant. Lich King, good card, played in a variety of different decks. His ability is great. The fact that he has taunt is great, and just a really good card, really solid. Gruul, safe disenchant. Don't really need him. There's just better 8-drops, like that guy. Alex Straza, really good 9-drop. Played in a variety of different decks, whether you're playing Priest or, you know, Warlock or Mage. Just really solid, part of the classic set. It's a great card. King Togwackle, part of a meme. To be honest, he's just a memey card. You can disenchant him, don't have to worry about a thing. And then Baku, fantastic card as well. Follows the same rules I mentioned with Greymane. The odd and even decks, you can, like, there's just so many combinations of things that you can build that are really cool. So definitely don't disenchant him, and he's a really safe craft. Malygos, safe craft, and I wouldn't recommend disenchanting him just because he's a good card in general. I think the Malygos follows the same rule of thumb as Baron. So whatever I said about Baron stands for Malygos. Master Oakheart doesn't really see a ton of play at all, and I would say safe to disenchant this guy. He's found in very specific decks, like big Druid, and he's also found in my big Warrior now. But I don't know how good that deck's gonna be. To be honest, I think it's really good, but it can end up being poopy. Nor's Dormu, safe disenchant, you don't need him. Onyxia, safe disenchant, you don't need her. Deathwing, used to actually see a decent amount of play, whether you're playing like a big deck or not. But doesn't really see any play right now, so it's pretty safe disenchant. This guy has always sucked, safe disenchant. And then Ysera, I wouldn't recommend disenchanting her. She's just a really good legendary card. Probably if you have the like between her and Malygos, definitely Ysera is better in regards to like playability. But yeah, Ysera is just a fantastic card. With that, we have covered all of the legendary minions in standard format. Hopefully this video does not take forever. I'll look at the time oh my god, I'm not gonna look at the time. But I appreciate everybody who watched it with me. If I happen to miss out on anything, you want to add into anything I've said, feel free to do so. I'm sure there's a ton of players who are going to look in the comments for further help in regards to a specific card or specific cards. And, you know, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you. And I will see you either in the next video and or on Twitch. So with that, take it easy, everybody. Have a great night. As always, I'm Robert Warshak, and happy whatever the hell day it is.